It's the end of the finish line for Industry Season 3 on HBO, and the finale certainly delivers, giving us big moments for the central characters while also leaving a lot open for the confirmed fourth installment. It's the end of an era for Pierpoint, which will likely be a good thing for most of the characters. I'm not totally certain what Eric will do next, though I have a lot of hope for the others. The eighth and final episode of Industry Season 3 premiered tonight on HBO and Max, titled Infinite Largesse. The Season 3 finale is a circular ending as the opening moments show us a flash forward of Robert addressing a group. We don't know what he's talking about or who he's talking to, but he looks different, like time has passed. After Eric's big betrayal last week and his idea of bringing in Ali, Pierpoint is preparing to sell to the Egyptian investment firm Al Mirage. But it's still not an ideal situation and big changes have to be made. Eric is put in charge of damage control for the London office while Tom flies to New York and he gets on a mic to talk to the staff. At first, the employees talk back, believing they're all going to be fired, but Eric is able to connect with them and gives a convincing speech. Wilhelmina is impressed with Eric while Tom texts him a thumbs up emoji. It might not be guaranteed job security, but it's something. Harper meets with Otto, who seems to intimidate her, understandably, but he changes his tune when calling Petra a tattletale. He wants to keep working with Harper. Rishi is desperate to leave Pierpoint and happily agrees to come to Harper's office to talk about the next steps of a job for him there, but not before Otto arrives. Harper and Petra are ready to cut ties amicably, and Otto is disappointed with the way things went. Even though they still made him money, he thought it would turn out differently. Petra apologizes to Harper for going behind her back, saying she panicked, and Harper tells her she forgives her. The two seem in a very good place, but that won't last. Rishi goes to meet with Harper and is shocked when Sweet Pea comes into the room. Harper says Sweet Pea is actually going to work with her, and Rishi is humiliated. The ladies explain that they don't need Rishi because a computer can do his job, and Rishi begins to panic. He nearly begs for the job and tells them they need an execution guy. But Harper's already got one. Rishi begins to realize she's talking about Anraj, and he sees him sitting outside on his way out. Yasmin hears back from Hanani Publishing while on the car ride back to London, and they're, expectedly, furious. Though Yasmin is confident in the blackmail she has, one thing the woman tells her sticks with her. She's told that she has no family, which is true. Because of this, Yasmin must latch on to the powerful people around her for support. While at a gas station, Yasmin calls Henry to reconnect, and when Robert returns from the store, she tells him they should go meet with him so Robert can do some seed funding. Robert agrees, and they head to the countryside to Lord Norton's home. Robert and Yasmin arrive at a humongous mansion, naturally, and Henry is very happy to see them. He tells them about his latest activities, claiming to want to dedicate his life to public service now. He seems willing to invest in Robert's business venture and invites them to stay the weekend for his uncle's birthday. Yasmin insists they'll leave in the morning. It's obvious Henry is very lonely and will appreciate any company he can get. He later comes to Yasmin's room and apologizes for the way he treated her. She laughs it off and tells him she doesn't buy his whole rebrand. The next morning, Yasmin speaks with Henry's uncle, Lord Norton, and they have a surprisingly heartfelt conversation. He apologizes about her father's wrongdoings and tells her that nothing he did was her fault. They share a hug, and Norton mentions how important not only blood-related family is, but found family as well. This comforts Yasmin and starts a fire inside of her, knowing what she must do next. She goes to see Robert and asks if they should go somewhere, seeming very happy. Yasmin and Robert go for a walk on the mansion grounds and hold hands before starting to make out and have sex outside. She allows him to ejaculate inside of her, which isn't referenced again in this episode, but I still wonder if it might be in Season 4. Yasmin being pregnant with Robert's baby would definitely complicate things, especially after what else happens in this episode. But of course, this is just me speculating. Yasmin also tells Robert that she loves him, and he says it back. Now that Yasmin gets to do what she's been wanting to do for a long time, she goes to have a serious conversation with Henry. She tells him that she had sex with Robert before asking him how he's been. Henry admits that he's struggling and can't seem to find joy in anything. Robert and Yasmin end up staying for the dinner, which is attended by other guests, including Otto, all dressed up. Henry makes a speech and shocks everyone by announcing he and Yasmin are engaged. Everyone claps except for Robert. We get a flashback of the rest of Yasmin and Henry's conversation. She tells him she wants commitment and a partner, even if they aren't sure if they love each other. Henry is in disbelief before proposing. Why does Yasmin decide to do this if she loves Robert? Well, she depends on the stability she no longer has, both financially and socially. She might not ever love Henry, but she can tolerate him, and he can give her many things. Yasmin quietly apologizes to Robert at the dinner, and he tells her he understands. The next morning, the family gets ready for a hunting trip while Robert packs his trunk to drive back home. He says goodbye to Yasmin, and a quick montage of their memories together plays. In his car, Robert thinks back to Yasmin telling him she doesn't think she's ever loved anyone, and he smirks, knowing that she loved him. Over at Pierpoint, the company name has changed to Al Mirage Pierpoint, something Eric is surprised to see. He walks into his office and sees Wilhelmina and a member of the HR team there, realizing this is the end of the road for him. Wilhelmina explains that because the business is changing so much, they no longer have a need for Eric. Tom will be fired too. The company will be giving Eric $20 million, which seems to soften the blow, if only momentarily. Bill is surprised when Wilhelmina tells him she'll see him on Thursday. Thursday? Eric questions, to which Wilhelmina reminds him, Bill's memorial. Ugh, what a way to tell us Adler passed away. At the office, Harper sees online that Jesse Bloom was just released from prison after a 4-month stint for tax evasion. She meets with Otto and tells him that she wants to run a short-selling fund and wants to move back to New York to run it. Otto says it's risky, but Harper is convinced. He also tells her he's heard from Jesse, who will likely invest, having been asking about her. As their conversation ends, Otto advises Harper to not live without fear. Yasmin begins to get used to her new life, and she decides to call Harper, asking why she hasn't responded to her wedding invitation. The two have a good conversation and pick up like no time has passed. Yasmin congratulates Harper for being highlighted in Forbes 30 Under 30, referencing a quote Eric gave her for the magazine. Their relationship is unconventional, but it looks like they're on good terms again. Eric sits at his desk at Pierpoint one last time and cries, and is then surprised to get a phone call from Harper, who thanks him for his quote for Forbes. He jokingly asks her if she's hiring and gets emotional before telling Harper to take care. We then get a very quick, very shocking scene from Rishi. Now living in an apartment, he comes home to find Vinay sitting at his kitchen table with Diana. It's Rishi's birthday and there's a cake for him, though he has no appetite, knowing he's deep into debt. Vinay tells Diana that Rishi owes him nearly $600,000, and Rishi begins to cry. Diana starts yelling at Vinay over and over again, telling him that he's ruined their family. Suddenly, Vinay takes out a gun and shoots her in the head. We then see another major element of Yasmin's new life. She has decided to employ one of the women her father mistreated and made sign an NDA, who is working now as her assistant. After doing cocaine together in one scene, Yasmin asks the woman if her child is her sister. The woman denies it, saying she is with the baby's father, and it's not Charles. She then opens up to Yasmin about her time on Charles' boat, telling her sometimes she would see girls as young as 12 on there. She tries to ask Yasmin if Charles was ever sexually inappropriate with her, but Yasmin doesn't want to hear this. She yells at her, and when the woman hugs her, she breaks down crying. This obviously strikes a chord with Yasmin, but she doesn't want to admit it. Yasmin pulls herself together and walks out of the room, telling one of her other staff members to fire the woman. In the final scene, we see Robert pitching to Greg, hey throwback, and a few other guys. Robert's got $1 million pre-seed from Henry Muck and another $500,000 from Ashford Asset Management, and he tells the men they can join his company from the ground floor. We don't know if he's made the move to California like he thought he might, but what is evident is that he's hopeful. This is the happiest we've seen Robert in a long time, and I'm genuinely so happy for him. What do you think? Tell us in the comments and keep watching Film Buff, baby.